Alright guys, today we are doing chapter 5, Union and its territories in Lakshmikanth. Like I said in the last video, we are doing a revision and here I have put together all the articles, amendments and judgments and timelines in one place so we can memorize it efficiently. So first, India is a union of states. Our constitution is federal, but the federation didn't come from an agreement among states, unlike the US. That means states can secede. So basically, the union is indestructible, but the states are destructible. Territorial integrity is not guaranteed. And we also know that in the first schedule, the names of all the states and union territories are mentioned, and currently we have 28 states and 8 union territories. Next, we move on to the special provisions under Part 21, that is Article 369 to 392. These are temporary, transitional, and special provisions for specific states like Maharashtra, Gujarat, Nagaland, Assam, Manipur, Andhra Pradesh, Telangana, Sikkim, Mizoram, Arunachal Pradesh, Goa, and Karnataka. We also have fifth schedule for administration of scheduled areas and sixth schedule for administration of tribal areas. We know that India can acquire territories by methods of secession, occupation, or conquest. Now, let's talk about boundary history with East Pakistan. We have Radcliffe Award, Bagay Award, and Nehru-Noon Agreement. Now we move on to 1974 Land Boundary Agreement with Bangladesh, which aimed to solve the boundary demarcation issues between India and Bangladesh at that time. But it wasn't ratified initially because transfer of territory was involved and that needed a constitutional amendment. Later, 2011 protocol finalized everything, that is demarcation, adverse possession, and enclave exchange. Now we move on to the princely states and the actions taken to integrate them. Hyderabad was integrated via a Polus action and Junagadh through a referendum and Kashmir through instrument of accession. So originally, after independence, the states were divided into 4 categories like A, B, C, D. Under Part A, governance provinces were added, and under Part B, princely states were added, and under Part C, chief commissioners provinces were added, and Andaman and Nicobar was kept in the Part D. Now we move on to the language commissions. In 1948, Linguistic Provinces Commission under the chairmanship of S.K. Dar was constituted. They concluded that states should be reorganized for administrative convenience and not language. And then JVP committee was constituted, who also rejected linguistic basis. But in 1953, Andhra became the first linguistic state. Then Fazal Ali Commission was constituted. They also rejected one language, one state formula, and it eventually resulted in 16 states and 3 UTs. This resulted in the State Reorganization Act 1956. Categories of Part A and B were abolished. C was abolished completely and either merged or converted into UTs. And then finally, we got 14 states and 6 UTs. Under State Reorganization Act 1956, there happened a major reshuffling. Like Travancore, Cochin, and Malabar, Kasargod were added to Kerala, and Coorg and Mysore were grouped together. Ajmer and Rajasthan were grouped together, and Lakshadweep Islands were carved from Madras to form a separate union territory. Now we move on to the timeline of the reorganization of states. In 1960, Bombay was divided into Maharashtra and Gujarat became the 15th state to exist. Likewise, in 1954, Dadra and Nagar Haveli liberated from Portuguese and it was administered by an administrator of people's choice. In 1961, Dadra and Nagar Haveli became an UT through 10th Constitutional Amendment Act. In 1961, Goa, Daman and Diu were acquired from Portuguese by a police action. In 1962, they became UT with 12th Constitutional Amendment Act. In 1954, Puducherry, Karaikal, Mahe and Yanam were handed over by French and it was administered as acquired territories, which in 1962 became an UT with 14th Constitutional Amendment Act. In 1963, Nagaland was made from Assam and it was placed under the Governor of Assam. In 1964, Nagaland was awarded the state status as the 16th state and it was given special provisions under 13th Constitutional Amendment Act. In 1966, based on Shah Commission recommendations, Punjab was bifurcated to make Punjab Haryana as the 17th state and Chandigarh UT. In 1971, Himachal Pradesh was given statehood and made the 18th state. In 1972, Manipur, Tripura, and Meghalaya became states as 19, 20, and 21st states. This was happened through 22nd Constitutional Amendment Act. Arunachal Pradesh, Mizoram were formed from Assam as UTs. In 1974, Sikkim was made into an associate state and Article 2A and 10th schedule was added with 35th Constitutional Amendment Act. In 1975, a referendum was held in Sikkim and it was admitted as the 22nd state and the referendum led to the abolition of Chogyal and with 36th Constitutional Amendment Act, Article 371F with special provisions was added and this amended 1st and 4th schedule. In 1986, Mizoram Peace Accord was held. In 1987, Goa as 25th state, Mizoram as 23rd state, and Arunachal Pradesh as 24th state was formed. In 2000, Chhattisgarh, Uttarakhand, and Jharkhand were created out of Madhya Pradesh, Uttar Pradesh, and Bihar as 26th, 27th, and 28th states. In 2014, Telangana as 28th state was created out of Andhra Pradesh. In 2019, Jammu Kashmir was reorganized into two UTs, Jammu Kashmir and then Ladakh. In 2020, Daman and Diu, Dadra and Nagar Haveli were merged into one UT. Now we move on to the articles present in the chapter. We have Article 1, that is India, that is Bharat, is a union of states. And then Article 2, which talks about the power of the parliament to admit or establish new states. And then Article 3, which talks about the power of the parliament to alter these states. And then Article 4, which says that Article 2 and Article 3, that is the laws made under Article 2 and Article 3 are not constitutional amendment, but they are ordinary legislative process. So they cannot be held as amendments, but ordinary legislations. Now we move on to all the constitutional amendment acts that are present in the chapter. I have compiled all these amendments into one page so that it will be easy to memorize the amendments and not get confused with each other. Now we look at the process of how Article 3 changes state boundaries. The bill needs President's prior recommendations to be introduced. The President has to send it to the concerned state legislature for opinion, but that opinion of the state legislature is not binding. When this procedure is done, there is no need to consult a UT, and there is no need to make a fresh reference for every new amendment to the bill. And like we discussed before, laws under Article 2 and 3 only need simple majority, and that is not considered as a constitutional amendment. Now we move on to the key judgments that is present in this chapter. In the Birberry Union case, it is clear that diminished does not include cession. Cession requires the constitutional amendment under Article 368. And in 1969, Supreme Court held that settlement of boundary disputes does not need a constitutional amendment act. Executive action alone is enough. So to wrap up, we looked at how India is a union of states and the union is indestructible, but the states are not. And we looked at all the articles in the chapter, and then we looked at the state formation timelines, and then we had a look at the amendments, and then judgments. This video helps you save a lot of time by revising and focusing on articles, amendments, and majorities and other key features. Revising these points repeatedly will save a lot of time and maximize your prelim score. Keep revising smartly and efficiently and not endlessly.